expand our imagination.
Justification for being what you was.
And welcome to Washington Unplugged. Bob Schieffer here. Well, Washington is digging out after one of the worst blizzards in our history. And now, on top of everything else, a subway train derailment. Washington Mayor Adrian Fenty is here. You'll have the latest on that. There's a big anniversary in Iran, and what does it mean for us in the United States? CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Lara Logan and former National Security Council staffer Juan Zarate will tell us about that, and Kaylee Hartung will be along with a delicious Valentine story about cupcakes. But first, the Washington story. And we're here with Mayor Fenty. Mr. Mayor, I must say, it seems like just one thing after another. We go through this blizzard, unlike anything I've ever seen, and now you have a metro derailment in the heart of Washington. What's the latest from down there?
Well, most importantly, the early reports are that no one is injured. So that's the good news. Right now, I just got off the phone with our fire chief. He's actually they're actually trying to decouple the trains and move them forward so they can walk everybody off the trains. Similar to the blizzard, glad no serious injuries, but definitely it's going to require a lot of work to get people off and then figure out what went wrong.
But there are still people down there.
Yes, yeah, they are still on the trains as of 11:45 today.
And so, any word from the chief on how long it'll be before they can get the people out of there? Or
it doesn't sound like it's going to be too long. It's just a matter of probably decoupling the trains, pulling them forward, but doing it in a safe manner. You got to make sure you get it back on the track, I suppose. It seem like it was going to be a long, long time. It wasn't that the cars were severely impaired at all.
As far as we know at this point, no injuries, no fatalities. Is there any word yet on whether this was weather-related or what caused it?
None at all. Way too early. But I bet we'll have a good idea by the end of the day.
And what do you think will happen next? I mean, what happens now?
Well, it depends on why it happened. But I mean, we've got common sense, you and I do. There's no good reason for a train to come off the tracks, so it's going to be a very serious reason it happened, and there's going to have to be some serious ramifications and explanations and changes.
Changes. I mean,
am I right?
You've already got problems with Metro. We had this really awful accident before, and now this on top of it. So, what do you, as mayor, do in a case like this? Will the city open an investigation into this? Who does the investigating now?
It depends on how serious. I think before the national transportation group folks get involved. The city puts 4 people on the Metro board, and 2 of them are alternates. The region appoints the rest, so we've kind of got a third. We're absolutely involved. We'll help in the investigation. A lot of it happens with transportation experts, though, independent and federal.
Let's talk a little bit about the storm. I can't ever remember a storm worse than the one that the city just went through. How much did this cost the district?
Well, I mean, we've overspent the budget considerably. I mean, we have to. We average 15 inches of snow, and that would cost us about $6.2 million. We're at about 60 inches already. So you can do the rough math, and it may not be quite 4 times the amount spent yet, but it's going to be way more than $6.2 million.
There has been some criticism, as there always is, that, that the district was slow off the dime, that we were slow to react. Could you have done it better?
Well, we got 3 storms. The one in December, 18 inches, warmed up quickly. I think we handled like clockwork. Bigger snow, February 5th and 6th, 26 inches. Froze pretty quickly. We spent a lot of time on the biggest streets, making sure the city wasn't completely paralyzed. No question that getting the smaller trucks into the residential neighborhoods suffered a little bit. We had them in there, but you couldn't get to every one. And so those residential streets that froze before we could get to them, Absolutely, there's a lot of buildup. In fact, what we've done over the past 42 hours is we've worked with contractors from the region and from the city to get these backhoes, front loaders, what I used to call tractors growing up as a kid. You're going to see driving through your neighborhood literally like an 18-foot tractor coming in, pulling out, because the small plows, after it gets to 6 to 12 inches, they're not useful anymore. And you know, if we ever got 60 inches with regularity in the city, we'd probably have to completely change how we do things. Not only equipment, but how people park. You know, whether we help people create driveways like they do in Buffalo. It's a completely different animal.
So, if you had to say these are the lessons we learned during this one, what would you think the main one would be?
Well, I want to say that, you know, any responsible manager, you know, separates, you know, what's happening from, you know, a review of what happens. And you know, when I leave here, I will literally go out to a neighborhood and watch one of these tractors in action. So we're still learning. But we were already preparing to do a couple of things. Use the private sector a little bit more, so have some more backup to go with our normal fleet. And probably centralize management a little bit better. The other thing is, just like trains, the equipment starts to wear down after a while. Expect in the budget we submit to our legislature to have requests for a lot more newer trucks.
A lot of mayors have gotten beat when they ran for re-election because of what happened during a storm. Has this been a political problem for you, and will it be?
Well, I try not to concentrate on the politics of snow. I mean, I've been focused on the operations of snow. That being said, I had the opportunity to be with Mayor Hickenlooper from Denver yesterday. He was in town. He actually got snowed in for a couple of days. That's not news. He told me he had a big 26-incher a couple of years ago. He said a couple of things were key. You know, do an after-action report, learn from what may not have gone wrong, and be willing to say, you know, yes, there are things that we could have done better, and we'll do more the next time. Even though we do want to recognize that these men and women who drive these trucks for 12 hours a day, and they're now on their 8th straight day, are really heroes. It's amazing how hard they work. But us people who are responsible for strategy and resources, we'll learn from this, and we'll be better prepared next time.
All right. Mayor